Tyler Heineke will start for Atlanta. Jaren Hall will start for Minnesota. But Josh Dobbs will be active as the backup quarterback, so we could see Dobbs at any point in this game. Atlanta, in between a 3.5 and a 4-point home favorite. The total is 37.5. Atlanta will not have the services of stud wide receiver Drake London in this game. Problematic, because they have no other good wide receivers.
Yeah, this is a really funny betting game with Heineke against Jaren Hall to start, and then you feel like it might be Dobbs at some point if that goes really poorly. Really high leverage game. You might be like, well, why would they bring in Josh Dobbs? Like, it's his first week. Like, it might be if they don't win this game, Atlanta gets the playoff spot and they don't. Like, that actually might be how it goes. So, like, you kind of have to be all in here decision-making wise to really try to win the game, and if that means Josh Dobbs plays the second half, that's what that means. I bet Atlanta 3.5 early in the week, thinking there was it was for sure the number was going to improve in my favor, and like I was right, but not nearly to the degree that I was hoping. I'm hoping for a little bit more of a bump here, and I'm gonna I might even not even middle. I might just buy out and like actually get plus on the coming back the other way to get my money back, and then I'll have no position on the game entering this. I will say, and I don't think this is going to be true, but all books are different, so you never know. If books are going to put up Jaren Hall props, then I think it benefits you to bet the under on any numbers, with the idea Dobbs could come in at any moment and take the place of him, and then you would just win on all those unders because Jaren Hall wouldn't play anymore. Also, he could just be terrible, so you could win twice. Not sure if like every book is going to do that. My guess is they aren't, but like even if some places do and some places don't, it's just like this is also one you could price shop, because some books might price into the prop market that he's like shaky, and some might be like, nah, full game projection. Like, all good. I think there's like a chance we see Josh Dobbs. Like, I think that's like a real possibility because this is a really high leverage game for Minnesota. I'll be on Hall under props and shopping those this weekend.
Matthew Stafford's officially listed as questionable on the injury report. Didn't practice all week with the thumb injury, although like Sean McVay even said this, like Stafford doesn't need to practice to play with all the reps he's gotten in his career. So like maybe this is going to be a true game time decision. Who the hell knows? If it's not Stafford, it'll be Brett Rippon. Puka Nacua is questionable on the injury report, but the thought, Ken, is that Nacua is going to play in this game on Sunday. What do you have for us here with the Rams and the Packers?
Nothing right now. Just with not knowing if Stafford's going to play, like I want the news to come out and I want the market to move one way or another, and then I'll make a decision. This is a Sunday conversation. Like, that's what this is. I want to know if he's playing or not, and I want to know how the market reacts to that information. And I don't even know what side I would bet in each permutation, but like I just want to see this play out. 3 with Stafford uncertainty is fine for me. Like, that doesn't really make me want to make a bet. Total being this doesn't really make me want to make a bet. Let's see what happens Sunday.
I would really like to bet the Rams at a number more than 3, whether it's Stafford or Rippon. If it's Stafford, it's not going to be more than 3. So really, like 3.5 or better with Rippon, I will place a bet on the LA Rams. And if I lose, I'm okay with losing because I think it'll be a valuable bet when I place it.
Am I gonna bet New England when this goes to like 2.5, 110 in the game, and they almost just have to win? Like, is that what I'm gonna do? I think the answer is yes. Let's see what happens. But I can't believe this. There are like not inexpensive. There are like 2.5 15s in places right now on this game if you want to bet New England. I almost can't believe it. Probably New England. But like the way this is going, maybe I'll get better. Maybe I'll get 2.5, 110 on Sunday. The off 3 steam makes no sense to me. Usually when it makes no sense, that means I'm wrong. I have not bet the game yet.
I laid 2.5 with New England. I'm going to stick with that bet that I made earlier in the week. But I will kind of echo the sentiments of Evan Silva, who came on the show yesterday from Establish the Run. He liked the over in the game. I'm going to end up betting this over also, where obviously like no Young and Sweat obviously helps the matchup for New England, even like with a terrible offense for the Patriots. And I will say, we talked a lot about Sam Howell, like, taking a ton of sacks, right? Last week, like, marked the first time all season that Washington got the ball out extremely quickly the entire game and, like, made a concerted effort to do that, where Howell's not hanging out in the pocket, just taking hit after hit. And they ended up scoring a lot on the Philadelphia Eagles, and Howell didn't really take a lot of sacks in the game. So I think Washington, if they do that this week against the Patriots, I'm not saying they're going to score 40, but I think they can score enough to get this over the total. I'll have a bet on the over, and I'll stick with my bet Patriots laying the 2.5. Ken, let's go to New Orleans. Saints an 8.5-point home favorite against the Bears. Justin Fields did practice today, but he's not going to play in this game, obviously. But maybe returns coming up soon for Chicago. They play on Thursday night next week against the Panthers. Maybe he's back for that game. The Saints laying 8.5 against Tyson Bagent and company. The total here is 41.
I don't have a bet on this game yet. Sam just had a really good presentation on this game earlier where he likes the Bears And the idea is essentially just, and he had a historical trend that like Derek Carr, who to be fair, like has not played on the Saints for more than this year, but like when Derek Carr is favored by a lot, his record is extremely poor. What I would just say that speaks to, and we talk about this on the show a lot, is the idea that like teams to win by margin, certain teams with certain coaches and certain quarterbacks, when they're projected to win by margin, that's generally like a tough ask based on how the team plays. And you can look at the Saints games, a lot of them this year, a lot of them have been close. They had the blowout against the Patriots. So like that's going to be kind of your argument for why. And Carolina backdoors the game, and that was kind of a blowout type of game, 2 possessions. But really, like the Saints are kind of like a terrible offense, like all defense team. When you're that imbalanced, like winning by margin can be really difficult sometimes. So like they could dominate this game and win by 7. Like they could dominate this game and win by 6, 3, like whatever, and you'll feel like the whole time that they were actually like going to win the game. That's kind of what this game feels like to me. So it would only be the Bears. I guess my curiosity is, okay, there was enough interest to get this from 7.5 to 8.5 to 9 in some places. Are we done? And I'm willing to wait to see if we get a 10 in this game on Sunday. Like maybe there's so much against Bajent and there's so much on the Saints that maybe we do get a 10 in the game. Like you kind of risk nothing by waiting. Like I'll risk losing on 8 in order to get 10, and like that this number gets away from me. 10, I would definitely bet the Bears. Let's see if we get it. Just again, like a team by margin, I would never be interested in the Saints, even though I think they're very likely to win the game. Interesting action in this game. The Dolphins got bet early this week, and there was really no buyback on the Chiefs at all. Chiefs basically like a 1.5 point favorite everywhere, but a high total usually lends itself to prop overs. Total 50. Does Mahomes have a bounce back performance?
I think he does, and I wagered on the over 2.5 passing touchdowns. He's properly hydrated now, and hopefully he's shaking all the ill effects of that case and bout of the flu, which really dragged him down tremendously against the Denver Broncos. A team with a couple of hooves in the glue factory, but ultimately, you look at Miami, this game is going to be high scoring. We know the secondary of the Dolphins, even though they're getting healthier, still has some question marks. So this seems like a get-right spot for Patty Mahomes, and the fact that you can get the over on 2.5 passing touchdowns, and I grabbed it plus money immediately at BetMGM when it opened at plus 130, and I immediately took advantage of that opportunity. But honestly, guys, my favorite wager in this game is a guy that Patty Mahomes could be chucking the pill to deep down the field, and that's Justin Watson. I am shocked. I am just absolutely floored that his receiving yards prop is only 17.5 in this game, and I gobble that up promptly and immediately. I mean, he's averaging over 21 yards per catch. He's one of the NFL league leaders in ADOT. He is number 1 in yards per target. And typically, it gets this in one play. So a single play payday. And it's not like this Miami defense, especially on the back end, is all that frightening. So, sprechen Sie Deutsch, Justin Watson, give me the over 17.5 receiving yards. And that's all the German I know outside of sauerkraut.
Well, it's a you bet derby.
Right.
Me versus Costos this weekend.
What are the stakes?
Look, the market isn't putting a ton of respect on Spurs here. And I thought we were going to get Spurs are top of the table. We talk about, selling high and betting a lot. And you'll say, this team has gotten inflated off of some fortunate results. But Tottenham isn't getting that love. They're a favorite at the number you'd expect Tottenham to be if the market viewed Tottenham and Chelsea as even teams. And if you just pulled up to any fan, any pundit, and said who's had a better season this year, Tottenham or Chelsea, everybody would tell you, obviously, that it's been Spurs. But the market just isn't really respecting it. So I can't just fade Spurs just because I think they're have had a good run here. The market's saying that they're not that good, and I agree. I'm kind of in line with the market here. From a tactical perspective, this is fascinating. Chelsea have been so good at creating high turnovers and pressing, and Spurs, if they have a weakness, they do commit a lot of numbers forward. But again, do you trust Chelsea with this crop of attackers to take advantage of the chances they're going to create when Tottenham have Son and Madison at the other end who are traditionally elite finishers? So I think as a whole, these teams are about even at the margins. Spurs are probably a little better, but with the number being the way it is, it's a pass for me, but I'm excited for it. Monday Night Football under the lights in North London. Also, Pochettino's return to Spurs. This is going to be a really fun, emotional experience for me on Monday night.
Let me tell you something about my guy Anthony knows a lot more about better soccer handicapper than me. Hashtag overthinking this one. Tottenham's definitely beating Chelsea. Like, I'll tell you, I'm a Chelsea fan. Tottenham's going to win this at a short price. Tottenham will win this game coming up here. I would encourage you, Anthony, for whatever it's worth, to bet your favorite team, and that's not a jinx attempt. That's actually what I think is going to happen coming up in this game. And Pochettino took Tottenham to a Champions League final, lost to Liverpool. I bet them in that game. That was unfortunate.